34?
Yeah.
For sure.
We're going to call it 34 and we'll correct it later. He says it's 34.
30-something.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Strobing Butt Plug. Episode number 34. I can't count. I am the host for this week, Ron, and these are my lovely co-hosts. The amazing Missy, the beautiful Ariana, and of course we cannot forget the buddy.
The buddy that I always forget to introduce.
We can't forget that fine.
Buddy.
We can't forget that fine gentleman. He won't let us.
I hope she's not gonna poop upstairs.
And the other cat that wants to go upstairs and
The
poop.
cat that wants to
cat
poop
that never shows her
upstairs.
face.
Alright.
This week on the Strobing Butt Plug, we have beers that are way too big because I found a cool little brewery and took
Is this
some.
in Mercer County?
What?
Is this in Mercer County?
Cold water.
Yes, that's Mercer County.
Makes sense.
But
Does it?
why does it make sense?
Huh? No. How big they are?
Oh, okay. Anyway, so today we have two from Tailspin Brewery in Coldwater, Ohio. The first one is Uncle Gus's Milk Stout, and the second one is the Berry Bomber Ale. I'm going to do the porn shop, but they're basically the same thing with different things sharping on them.
Generic can label.
Generic can label 1 and generic can label 2. I do not expect to finish all of these. What?
Program.
I'm making fun of you not like, just put your hand behind it all times. I don't know,
Every time.
Here.
you know.
Here. I'll Vanna White this shit there.
Yeah,
there you go.
We got a nice little airplane on there. The guy that owns the place is retired Air Force. And it's in a little barn.
Yay, fun.
So before we get too much into this, what do we feel like first?
I think we should do the berry.
I was
first
thinking so,
because
too.
I feel like it's not gonna taste as good as the other one.
That's what I was thinking. It's like you're gonna end with the what? Don't do the wrong one first.
And of course the mystery.
Leave it to the guy to fuck shit up.
The mystery.
The mystery is in tin foil. They were all in tin foil for a while because these cans and bottles are too damn big for our usual sleeves.
Mysteriously,
Right.
bitch.
Now she's all hyper. Earlier she's like, I'm
She's
tired.
like, I'm tired of you. Now insulting me brings her to life.
Just fucking snorted her coke in the other room before she came in, obviously. Had some
That's
meth.
what I was doing in there. I wasn't cleaning it.
That's right. Fucked up.
Next week on the Strobing Butt Plug, we're going to start reviewing local heroin.
Here we come, Greenville.
That'd be hilarious.
I think the crack from Richmond, Indiana is better than the stuff from Greenville.
That's so funny.
All right,
Very nice
here we go.
urine color with a slight pink berry.
Smells like beer with berry-ish scent to it. Kind of like
A sour.
like like Bath and Body Works when they used to have the raspberry like back in the 90s or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it reminds me of.
It's not a sour. It's got a tart, bitter. It's almost like a. I know it's not an IPA, but it would almost be like a berry IPA.
Raspberry ale is what they call it. 5.6% on this stuff. I like it. It went pretty good in the flight that I had.
So I call it the Bath and Body Works raspberry, whatever it used to be called in the 90s.
Right.
Pretty well.
That's what it. It has that, yes, that definite raspberry. Like it's like, ooh, this starts to taste good, and then it has that, like it's not a very sweet. It's not like a bad beer, but it's. If you have a raspberry flavor of anything, it's not very sweet versus the flavor of anything else being
Raspberry is always
any
like
other type of berry.
it's like a dry flavored kind of berry.
Mhm. Maybe it tastes kind of wine-like.
It's almost pink colored.
I know, that's what I was thinking. It's got that
Like a
like.
peachy colored.
I've been there twice, and the first time I talked to one of the guys that's one of the brewers there, and I've been adding him on Facebook, been chatting back and forth about a few things. They started that chocolate milk beer for my birthday party.
Yes.
And talking to him, I'm going to probably have to rush it because the party's gonna be a few weeks sooner than I wanted, just because when I could book the theater. And I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah.
It's still super full.
We're drinking.
Oh, it's like,
today.
but we drank about half of it. It's cool.
But I'm gonna be cold crashing it and hopefully not fucking it up. We'll see how that works.
What's a cold crash?
Cold crash is basically a way to quickly stop the fermentation, get all the yeast out. In the beer making process that I've done so far, I've just let the yeast run itself out. I do move it into a secondary where I kind of clear out a little bit more of it, and then I bottle. Well, the cold crash, basically, you take the whole thing and put it in a freezer or fridge that's just a few degrees above freezing. That deactivates all the yeast and it falls to the bottom.
That's cool.
And it'll kind of speed up the process a little bit. I was measuring my freezer last weekend and stuck a thermometer in there to see where to adjust it to just above freezing so I don't actually freeze the shit. Put one of my wine bottles in there, which is about the same proof, without doing that. Left it in there about 4 hours, came back. It wasn't quite frozen, but when I uncorked it, like the top this much of the wine was all ice crystals.
That's a good temperature.
I
Fun when beers do that.
I lifted the ice crystals off the top and drank the wine. That shit got strong fast.
That's funny.
So how we doing today, guys?
Me and Missy are kind of matching today.
That's right. I thought that as soon as I walked in, I was
So did
like,
I.
dude, we're like fucking twins and shit. It's
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Do I need to get one of those and we can be like cultists?
Yes. We're gonna be cultists. I'll be a cultist.
We'll get Buddy one.
You have to get a vest if you want to be in a cult. Don't you know that?
Okay.
Has to be a vest.
Yeah. The vest tonight, so every time you
Yes.
Transvestites?
Huh?
I
Transvestites?
remember.
No, just vest tonight. Because one time I was eating dinner with a friend and we looked over and there was like this table full of like 50-year-old women, like 50-something women, and they were all wearing puffy vests.
Sweater vest, or were they just
Like the puffy, like the, you know, like the puffy coats, like.
Ew, yeah,
something like that.
Jesus.
They're all wearing those, and I was like, do you just hit a certain age and you just decide you want to start wearing vests all the time? And
You're like, fuck sleeves, I don't need them.
then we came up with that if you wear a vest, you're probably in a cult, and we called them the Vestinites.
I like it.
My vest for my cold is going to have to be bulletproof at this point.
That's great. I feel like if I'm in a cult, we better be trying to cast some magic spells and shit. That's what I would be doing.
Right.
If I'm in a cult, I'm going to be leading the cult, and it's going to all be a pyramid scheme to make money.
Sweet.
Fair warning.
I don't know what kind of cult I'd be in. It'd probably be like the same thing like Missy would be in. I would imagine.
I mean, we could still cast spells and try to cast spells and all that, but just know the sole purpose of it is as a tax dodge because it's a religious thing. Okay.
Hey, tax dodge. There you go.
Well, we all know how much you guys like tax right now.
That's right.
Like your roofing.
Hell yeah. That's right.
I mean, you know, you gotta fuck the government somehow, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
This isn't bad. This is like a light tasting.
Right.
It's not terrible.
Let's see. I had it with this. Was the flight I had the first time was with this, the Uncle Gus's, and
Every
they.
time I look at that can, it looks like it says Uncle Fuck. I don't know why. I
I don't see it.
I just
The Uncle Fucks. Is that better? Uncle Fucks milk.
the Uncle Fuck's milk
It
stout.
looks like it says Uncle Fuss, maybe.
Something weird. It's just it's when I move my head and I see it, I'm like, what the hell?
So they have, I did this, a lager, and they had like, the lager is kind of like their version of like a Bud Light. It wasn't bad. Budweiser kind of. I was trying everything. Second time I went there, they had another milk stout, and I do not recall the name. Shit. I got an Irish ale they made, which was pretty standard Irish ale, but not bad. Then they had something they called a Georgia Sunset and an Ohio Sunset.
Okay.
The Georgia Sunset was a peach ale,
He's drooling. Yeah.
and the Ohio Sunset was made with blood oranges.
I bet that's good.
That one, Ohio Sunset, was pretty damn good.
That would be pretty good.
It almost tasted more like a orange juice spiked beer, maybe, or beer spiked orange juice.
So what was the peach one like? Was it like as good as yours is, or
It was,
could you taste it as well?
I could taste it. I couldn't tell if it was like with actual peaches or like peach extract. Like this stuff, I can't tell if this is peach flavoring, or excuse me, raspberry flavoring or actual raspberries, you know. If you're talking about was it Claire's, whoever it was, is raspberry scented whatever.
Claire's.
Shit.
The Bath and Body Works.
Bath and Body Works, whatever.
That's great.
My fucking old man brain forgetting things today.
Like Missy used to wear the juniper booties a lot.
Hell yeah, I did.
I never did the Bath and Body Works thing. I always did like Exclamation or
Right.
what's that other one? Navy or something.
The Old Navy. I did that one. I had that one. I had one called Ghost Mist too. And I thought it smelled good. Everybody thought it smelled bad. They called it Ghost Piss.
I remember you had that one, that opium. That
I like that one. That one was awesome.
I had like a Jessica McClintock, which was really like flowery. I really like that one.
I did the Bath and Body when I got that. I actually got it from Jill when I worked at LJ's. It was for Christmas, so like that's the only reason why I wore that. But then I liked it, so like it worked well.
Because it always smelled pretty good. Because I am creepy and I smelled you.
Yes.
It's okay if she does it, but if I go,
Right. It's creepy.
that's a restraining
So
order.
should we like bring up the conversation we were having at the dinner table?
Yes, I was trying to
Yes,
remember
that's
what it
why I
was when I
stopped this
first
so we could
sat
say
down.
it.
I was like, what the fuck were we talking about?
We were talking about very good things, and we'll let her continue, and then I interrupted it
So
for this.
it started with Missy telling us about a TikTok.
Oh gosh, she was eating herself out, yeah. She wasn't really eating herself out.
Could have led up to it a little.
Right, yeah.
You
She was doing yoga and like practicing getting her vagina closer and closer to her face to where she could actually touch her mouth through her vagina. And I was really amazed.
And my thought was, could you actually like make yourself have an orgasm if you're all like bunched up like that? Because what'd you say? She was like, was she on her back?
Yeah, she was on
like,
her back with her.
like curled. Yeah.
Yeah, she curled up over on top of herself.
So I'm like, I was talking about listening to a podcast before, and I believe it was Dr. Drew, and I don't know if it's like all people or if it's just like a certain gender or what. But
I feel like it would have to be most people.
I think it's probably all people. But he says like everybody has like a certain stance that they do when they're having an orgasm, because like if they don't like, if they're not in that position.
The position of comfort.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's like you have your feet a certain way, or, you know, like something like that, like you curl your toes.
Strike a pose.
Yeah, basically like that. It's like, that's how you orgasm the best, or it's the only way you can orgasm, or something like that. I don't know if it's the only
And I feel
way.
like that would make sense. So, but I feel like, so when I was saying, I was like, well, fine, I'm just going to start practicing by shoving myself into really tight spaces and giving my orgasms in this.
Yeah, she was talking about like, you know, going into like a tight little cupboard, maybe trying to shut herself in like a school locker, just like massively jerking off. She's like, oh yeah, oh yeah. And then that way she's like, okay, I'm gonna put myself in this tight little ball. Oh god, I'm getting all wet.
But wouldn't that be a funny porn where it's the janitor's like walking through cleaning the school? And then he opens the locker and he's like, oh my god, what are you doing in there? Oh my god, I'm just about to come.
It's funny that you bring that up.
That's like something I would be saying at this point, just for the record.
Now that you mention it, it's one time back when I was at school.
I purposely locked myself a locker, and I blew that fucking old man Winters who cleaned out the lockers. Man, I blew him good.
That's not what I was gonna say, but I was just gonna say, like, for some reason yesterday I had the thought that I'm gonna start writing porn. And I don't know why I thought this, but I was like,
I think, well, I mean, you can make money from it, so, like, that would probably be a thing. Like, fuck it, I hate my job, I'm gonna start writing porn.
Why not?
Are we talking like classy porn or like crappy, like cheesy, like gangbang porn plots? So, well, that's
not
the question.
classy, maybe like a kink type of porn. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Not
can
really classy, maybe not like,
So describe just
maybe
your
not quite cheesy. I don't know.
describe just your kink porn then,
No,
because
I'm not describing kink porn.
because here's the
It's gonna be
thing.
totally anonymous if I start writing porn.
Because here's the thing, if you start describing your kink porn to us, we're gonna know the kink you're trying to work
No
out.
way. Nope, I have like all kinds of different ones.
She's like,
That's
and then
so awesome.
and then the girl
It's like-
tied the guy up and she pegged him with the strap on, and then he took it both out of his ass and turned around and pegged her and fucked her with his dick at the same
Well,
time.
there's gotta be a storyline. I mean, it was just,
right. Can't just be like, hey.
I'm a girl, we do the storyline thing.
Right. It's like they're playing tennis with no bras on and like,
Afterwards, like, let's go get a shower together. And then
right, exactly.
the coach walks in. It's like, oh,
I've
wow.
seen that porn before.
So you just remind me of the first time I ever watched porn.
I almost think because I've seen that went through my head. That was
like my stepbrother found it in my.
There's a whole type of porn.
I think it must have been you that showed me that because I remember the tennis porn.
Yeah, like they came back from tennis practice and they basically just started fucking.
It's kind of like,
the girl was like wearing, like a little tennis outfit, and then I don't know, I think there was a whole storyline and everything, but
right.
We were like 11 or something.
Watching something we should have. Okay, guys, guess what I found? You're never gonna believe this. This is how you have sex. You gotta have tennis first.
In the days before the internet, you could only find your creepy
your
uncles or
stash.
dads or grandpa's porn collection.
Right, there you go.
Tucked away in some dirt.
Should we drink the rest of that, or are we? What's the deal here?
What do you want to do? One thing she did say when I was getting these is something about you can mix those two, and it was supposed to be good.
Well, let's try.
Okay.
Like I was gonna say, it sounds like that would be good. So let's do the milk stout, and then we'll try the two of them together.
I like that idea.
Okay.
So now one of the funniest porns I also watched. Every porn's funny if it has a lot of stupid ass acting. But see, I remember that one. But the one that I saw that was really funny was this one. It's at my ex-boyfriend's friend's house, and we were all sitting there watching this porn that was something. There was a statue that was bought at a an old antique shop, and the dude was like, "Oh, whatever." And I can't remember if there was like a porn tale behind the statue, or he just got the statue because he thought it was cool. But it had some kind of weird thing about it. And anytime anybody came in and touched it, they got immediately horny and started having sex.
Why does this sound familiar?
So I've seen that one too, damn it.
For the record, Uncle Fox, aka Uncle Gus's milk stout, 5.2%.
But we watched it, and the one thing that, just everything about the storyline was funny, but then, so I'm sitting there with probably maybe one other girl and a few other guys, and one of the guys was just like, "Oh my god, look at that guy's balls. They look like alien eyeballs." And every time he thrust it, for some reason we had the camera shot at the back of this dude's ass and his balls, and every time he thrust it in, the balls would spread apart like this. And that's the one thing the dude noticed, and then so then we were all rewinding it and watching it again, rewinding it and watching it again.
So he was specifically picked because of that, probably.
Probably.
The giant weird testicles.
Right.
Dude, and you reminded me of something. Do you remember People Under the Stairs?
Oh my god,
And
yes.
when we were rewinding it. So there's this part in People Under the Stairs, and I think that girl was it was her stepdad or something.
Right, they didn't have any children of their own because they were supposed to have been brother and sister.
Adopted dad.
Yeah. So
and she was tied up. Was she tied up?
Yes, she was supposed to have been tied up in the attic.
And they were wearing some fucking leather bondage.
Had the leather gimp outfit.
Gimp outfit, and he walks up behind the girl and starts touching himself, and he's like, "Oh," and then the lady yells, "Daddy!" And we rewound that so many times because we thought it was so fucking funny.
Daddy! I think we didn't really I don't know, maybe young enough that we didn't realize that that it was supposed to portray that he was getting ready to rape her, but he got caught.
Right.
And it was just kind of we just thought it was funny. Why is he wearing that? Why is he I thought he was wearing that outfit because that's what he wore when he cut everybody up that came into his house and he killed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what I thought.
I just thought, I was like, oh, so the blood doesn't get on his face, because he was wearing the leather mask. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. But
I'm just thinking leather daddies that fucking Christmas party got advertised.
The leather daddies, yes.
Yeah.
Ron's gonna get more leather daddies now. Yes.
Ron's into the leather daddies.
Well,
Right.
they're just so pretty. Mm-mm-mm.
I
I'm leather. I like leather because I ride motorcycles.
I'm leather. It's kind of well, okay, you are pre-leather because you're not dried out and cut apart.
And also, I want to talk about something else real quick. I want to a quick kind of subject change, but I was figured out how to measure pasta. So Ron made, you know, like the okay sign. He's like, it's about this much is one serving. And I'm like, so, and I think Missy maybe said like, it's the size of your butthole. And then I kept pulling a little more pasta out and a little more pasta out and a little more pasta out. And then
So
he said like, so now I know what your butthole. I was like, no, I was measuring for your butthole, Ron.
That's right.
And it turned out almost perfect, actually.
Did right.
Like,
She
there
just
was
was thinking
like a
about
little-
Ron's butthole. It's just like, this is about.
Ron's butthole is probably like this big.
And so if I measure it 3 times, that's 3 servings of pasta and a little bit more. Just
Well,
in
I mean,
case somebody wants
it's
to-
going in my mouth and coming out my butthole, so you know.
She just did 3 butthole words.
For 3 assholes. Hey,
So-
look at that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So what do you think of Uncle Gus's milk stout?
Uncle Gus's milk stout
It
is.
almost has a smoky flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
It does. I was kind of wondering. I was just like, to me, it tasted like a dark milk stout. Like it's good. Like there's
Yeah, it's
nothing.
good.
There's nothing significant about it. These don't have very deep flavor profiles. They just have one. Boop. That's it. That's what these 2 beers.
See, the thing I haven't asked about, Tailspin is how long they've been there.
That's what I would ask.
When I was talking to
Look that
the
up.
When I was talking to the guy the other day, when I missed him last Friday, because there's the owner of the place, he was there brewing, then the chick who's like the barkeep, but he was off making deliveries to 6, 7 different restaurants around that were taking their beer. And let's go back and forth with him on Facebook. He's kind of bitching about having to go to Lima and all these different places to remember going, I think you're doing too bad then if they got 8 restaurants they're supplying with their stuff.
I'm gonna check that out. Let's see.
Stop.
Do this.
Man, who don't want to stay?
Right.
Put flea medicine on and he's still pulling his hair out.
He just seems like he might have dry skin or something.
My parents had a cat, or they have a cat rather. They have to go every so many months, take it to the vet and get like cortisone shots. Otherwise, he'll rip his hair out.
Maybe I'm gonna need to start doing that.
He's not that old of a cat, but if they don't do it like this time of year, you see him like he'll just tear all the hair on his at from basically like his, from there back out, and he'll just get all like neurotic about it.
It seemed like he kind of quit doing it after when I first put flea meds on him. He's got like another week or so to go till I have to put him on again.
Old man, cat being old man.
Let's see.
They got a listing to say how long they've been there.
No, that's unfortunate about. A renovated dairy barn has fed generations of Ohioans since 1933. So apparently it was a dairy barn, but I don't know how long it's been a beer
I'd say
place.
looking at the place, not more than 5 years. Just looking at the place, it's pretty clean, pretty new inside. A lot of the varnish isn't worn off on anything, that sort of stuff. The parking lot looks, unless they had it recently repaved, looks recently paved. So can't be too long.
I feel like though with their beers, they probably did right by leaving them a not very deep flavor profile, because that area, people just have their one like, I like my hillbilly beer.
Yeah.
And that's like, if it was something that was too like, I don't know, just very
It's
like
something that,
super sweet or a lot of different flavor depth to it, I don't think
like if they went to
it wouldn't be as big.
if they went to a Cincinnati brewery and were like, the fuck's all these flavors? What the hell?
Right.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't be like liking it as much. It's a subtle flavor, and I think that's good for that area, because I feel like that would just be the area that would like it.
I do know that like I checked in on the 513 beer group.
Yes.
And the dude, that's how I started talking to the dude, the like secondary brewer guy, he was all, holy shit, you're in this group? I didn't know that. I'll come over and talk to you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, really,
That's
man?
funny.
Really? But it's still cool. He's a cool guy.
I like the milk stout better.
You want to do a little mixy?
Yes. I felt like that's what it would be. Like,
So how do you think we should mix it? Like half and half?
yeah. Because I even thought that I was like, when I was, well, you just basically after you said the name of the beers, I was kind of like, if it was a milk stout, that would be a berry milk stout. That would be really delicious. So that looks about right. Yeah, we're good.
I was just kind of bullshitting the amount there.
Is there more in there still?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
32-ounce cans.
Oh my god.
So it's like we're drinking about twice as much beer as we normally do, which really isn't that much because
Stop.
Yeah, we usually drink
'Cause,
probably about one beer per person every
Right.
I'm going to tell you right now that we should work these slowly because this guy,
is
there's some flavor there.
well, it's all right because I was gonna say we didn't do our pre-beer, and
Yeah.
so this is only the equivalent of 64 ounces. That would be 2 beers apiece.
So the woman running the bar recommended mixing the raspberry and the Uncle Gus.
And it's not even really 2 beers apiece. Probably a beer and a half apiece right now.
So I haven't tried it yet, but you recommend mixing these, so we'll see.
That's good.
I think I like this better than both beers.
I still like the milk stout a little bit better. I think I'm just not a fan of raspberry flavored shit. I'm not real. I mean, like I'll eat raspberries, and raspberries are good in stuff. Like if I put raspberries in my cereal. But I'm not a very big raspberry fan to begin with.
I didn't used to be, but I don't know, over the past few years, I don't know, like I had raspberries growing out in my garden and stuff, so I would make raspberry stuff and I've just grown to like it.
For me,
They're
raspberries.
not sweet enough.
For me, raspberries, it's not even so much a matter of the flavor. Anytime I eat just raspberries themselves, it's that grittiness because of all the seeds in there. And my brain is just instantly like that gritty on your teeth feel from them, but yeah.
I just didn't used to like the flavor of them very well, and I don't know, just having fresh raspberries out there kind of changed my mind.
You do have quite the little naturally occurring garden, that's for damn sure.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, it's just a weed patch now.
You know, it works though.
It's a weed patch.
It was really great because I'm gonna be like,
Not
oh,
like
weed.
Not the cool weed.
Right.
It's a
Or
weed
is
patch.
it like, oh, this is a bunch of garbage out here?
It's a weed
like
patch.
bunch of pencils
And
shit.
so
Like, is that
after
still
we
shit you're gonna be cooking with? Like, are we gonna be getting high before we start doing the show?
Yeah, such a
So earlier we were talking about doing heroin on the next episode. The episode after that, we're going to be saying.
It's our favorite drugs. What buzz do you prefer?
We're going to have, instead of the mystery beer, we're going to have like, just, here's 3 pills. Setting a thing. It's the mystery pill. What is it?
That would be really hilarious.
We don't take the mystery pill.
Maybe if we were in our 20s.
What?
Maybe if we were in our 20s.
Like the mystery. This is the mystery pipe. You know, I put some stuff in here, and then I have a screen on top to kind of hide the stuff. What is actually in it? Now let's take a big hit. This tastes like crack.
Well, guess what, guys? This is crack. This is the best crack. And then the episode stopped being like an hour and 15 minutes, and they're just, you know,
We gotta go. Oh my God.
they're just like 12 hours of us cracked out of our minds or something.
Either we would get up and like be wanting to move around, or we would just be talking nonstop, and then the episode would be about like 4 or 5 hours. Like, dude,
And then,
how
like,
long
we
sat?
sit-
How
we
long
sit-
did we sit
Hopefully
here?
it would be interesting.
Right.
We'd
I
suddenly
hope so,
get like
too.
really paranoid and be like, oh man, they're fucking watching us, aren't they? Bet they're fucking watching us. Those people in the box can see me. Hi guys in the box, don't hurt me.
It's funny.
Whoa, little box guys.
No, I know what I did this weekend. I was like wondering like why it seemed like I had a block of time that I am missing.
Drugs.
No, it's not drugs. It was people in the box. So I was on this Zoom meeting with one of my friends I've known for years online. And she's all into energy and Reiki stuff, and you know, like that's like where you do the, I don't know, you don't have to touch the person, but it's like you just heal their chakras and like the energy points in their body. And so I had a couple sessions with her before, and I was like, oh, I can tell a fucking difference. Like I'm more clear-headed, I'm more like focused and this and shit. And like a couple months ago, she was telling me how she's like, you know, I'm going to be doing like a session where I teach people to level 1 and level 2. I think there's like 4 levels. She's like, I'm doing a buy one, get one. I was like, okay, cool. That sounds pretty interesting. She's like, something about like $250. I was like, oh man. I was like, said I got like Christmas and shit coming up, and I have this and this. Said, I really can't afford that right now. I was like, but I'll do it later sometime. I said, I'm really interested. I want to do this. And she's like, well, since I like it, she's like, you know, there's a bunch of people that wanted to do the class, but they didn't have like another person that wanted to also take the class to be the get one free. She's like, so I'll let you pay half, and then you can take the class. And I was like, sweet, yeah. And so she did this, and she was into it like a couple of years ago. And she said when she did the class, she was like, she took the class in person, and she did this. She said that it was like, because we had the book, like she gave us a link to buy the book, but she said when they did it in class, they like read the pages of the book, because there's certain things they want you to know about it, even the history and stuff. And so she said they read it all out loud, and she was like, her class was like a 16-hour class. But she said, you know, I just highlight the most important shit, and then I give it to you in about 4. I'm like, all right, cool, you know. So everybody that took the class, there's probably like 9 of us in the class. Okay. And Ron's like, this is bullshit.
No, Ron, this...
Like, you guys believe in crystals and herbs and all other shit.
what is it? Kentucky Fried Chicken's 11 herbs and spices?
Yes, there you
and
go.
chakra crystals?
Yes. That's funny. I would definitely wear that shirt. But anyway, would totally make that shirt. But so anyway, so I became like certified level 1 and 2 with Reiki, and I told my kids, I was like, I'm gonna do this on you, and they're just like, yeah, okay, well, whatever. And then, and you can do it on yourself, so it's like, okay, cool, you know. So she taught us all this stuff and whatever, and it was really weird because I don't know exactly what she did, but there's like certain symbols, like if you're just like, it's like I don't know, like Asian type thing, that like if you're cleansing the room, you do the symbol, and you do it like the floors and walls, floor, and ceiling before you, like, that's like what you do in the room. But so when it's really weird because the history of it, there's like 3 main people that like had like a lot of like trainings, say that, you know, they were Buddhists and did a lot of energy work, or, you know, just had some kind of, you know, hand in it, but it has to be passed on to like another person you just can't like read it and study it in a book. You actually have to like have it from someone else, and it's like, once you have it, like, you can't get rid of it. You just can't not be it. I'm like, all right, cool. So she said, you know, there was, I guess basically at one point she had all the people, forget how I think she goes, just like this with your eyes closed, and then when I call your name, then, like...
By the way, it's less about it being bullshit, more about I needed to pee, and I forgot I need a bottle opener.
Right. I figured it was you had to pee. But, like, when she had me hold my hands like this, you know, whatever, and then, like, she just did whatever she did. She goes, now open, and she says she places the symbols in your hand. I don't know what the fuck she does there. But it was weird because... What was it? My hands felt like really weird because I thought they were opening, like before I was told to open them. And then she was like, you know, she did whatever, and then she asked everybody if they felt anything weird. And then the one lady, she was like, because she had us hold our hands like this, and the lady said she couldn't keep from like closing her hands. She's like, I've had somebody else tell me that before, and which is really weird. And then she's like, she had us basically practice, because you can do like a distance thing. You don't have to be in the same room as the person, and you just basically have to have an intent to like do the Reiki on that person, and so you're supposed to have their permission, and obviously they're going to receive it better if they know that they're going to be getting it. So she said she had a friend whose dad just sick with some things, and wanted everybody to just practice on that. And what you do, you just basically have a stuffed animal, so you use the stuffed animal as like a reference guide on how you're doing stuff. And it was really weird because I forget what, my hands felt weird at some point during that. Again, like I could feel cold maybe. I can't remember what, but it was like you literally can feel shit, and it's like, wow, that's really weird. And this was right after, and I'm like, no, it's just really weird. And it's kind of like, now I'm like really into it, and I'm like, oh, I want to learn all this shit about it. Now I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to be that crazy crystal lady with all my crystals and my fucking 11 herbs and spices. Like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I've already been the crazy crystal lady.
Oh, yeah?
And,
I'm going to ask that you guys please finish those beers because, not to interrupt the crystal conversation, I am very goddamn excited for you to fucking drink that. I have been keeping that bitch back
for a while.
A fucking while. A goddamn while. And...
Well, nope. I
just to drop.
I thought it was the bottom of it, and I'm like, oh, there's still beer in there.
I have been excited for y'all to have this one for a while. I have been struggling not to fucking drink it myself.
So I did like this online thing. I was in some kind of like spiritual group on Facebook,
Oh yeah.
and I did this like online. This girl was like offering free classes that were kind of like
Clean it
Reiki.
out well. You'll enjoy this flavor.
But anyway, like same thing with the hands is like you would like hold your hands like this, and you're like creating energy between your palms, and it was almost like you could feel it getting more and more solid,
Mm-hmm.
like as you concentrate on it. Like you could feel your hands getting warm, and you could feel it getting like almost solid, like, and like you could like kind of push, and it would kind of like push your hands back.
That's really weird.
But I think I
Right.
believe
I'm
in
gonna
all
state
that.
this is-
I do too.
When I had this the first time, this was like one of the best fucking of these I've had.
The best fucking of these.
Oh my god, dude. You just don't know. You will.
Before we did that, excuse me, everyone.
For the record, this is a all wax sealed and shit.
Ooh, it is. That's funny.
I started off with 3 of these. I'm down to 1.
Ooh, there is a waxy there.
Interesting.
But I had no, she had us do ourselves before we did that guy.
Look at this
And
thick ass shit.
I heard it pour thickly. But when I put my hands like this in front of my face, I got super warm, and I'm like, okay. But I was like intentionally not breathing into my hand, you know. And then like, you know, I did this and like not as warm, and you know, it was like really weird. And then like just doing your own self was like pretty interesting. Ooh, that smells very.
It looks so fucking dark.
Oh, it is as black as my fucking
Oh
soul.
shit. That
Yeah.
smells like,
Very bourbon barrel-y. I mean,
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, it is.
dude, it reminds me of something.
I know all the ones that Ron had. Obviously, I didn't remember them, but I don't know which one that he saved for us.
You know what this smells like? Like German chocolate or something.
Ooh, it's very chocolatey.
Like German chocolate.
Mm. Ooh,
I have been waiting forever to fucking crack
So-
this bitch.
it's like
I had this at the brewery. When I got this, I'm like, oh my god.
So my aunt lived in Germany, and one year she came for, I think, Christmas, and she brought like chocolate covered cherries and like chocolates from Germany, and it
German
was
chocolates are really
the
good.
best fucking chocolate I've ever had in my life. It had like alcohol and stuff in it, and that's kind of what this tastes like.
See, this is like, I can't remember the name of it right now. The one that we liked, the milk, the dark, the horse, the whatever.
From Gus's?
No, the from Gus's.
This is fucking amazing.
It's the one that I liked. Like, basically, I bought you for Christmas.
Yes, yes. That came from
I forget what it's called.
the Barrel House shit. Warped Wings Barrel House shit.
No, the one I got you for Christmas that had the cup that has like the horse thing on it.
Oh, the total. No, not the beer. Oh, you're thinking of
It's a milk stout.
shit. Yeah. I've had a bunch of theirs. It'll come to me.
It's the one that made us like craft beer.
Yeah.
Something about this reminds me of my dad.
That's funny. It was a
All right.
I mean, sometimes,
Sometimes.
not
Was
like,
he a
Was
bourbon,
that
was he a
never
bourbon drinker?
no, I mean, he had liquor and stuff, but it wasn't like, he didn't drink that much.
All right. So,
Not around us, at least.
I was gonna say, yeah, I never once ever.
so you guys ready for reveal?
Yes, this, but see, it was the dragon's blood. This is like dragon's blood, but only like a much better version of it.
So, several months ago now, is November maybe, I went with old Zach Holly down to Braxton in Cincinnati when they had their Dark Charge Day. They had 3 of these that were their Dark Charge Day and like bonuses. This one is the Dark Charge Barrel Aged Imperial Stout. This one was aged in New Riff distilling barrels for like 2 years.
So it's new riff.
New Riff aged 2 years. It's like 15.5%.
That's crazy.
It's fucking good.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's super good.
And like the other ones that were in the pack, there's one that was rum cast aged, and there was another bourbon one. They had different colored wax. I have saved this fancy box because why not?
Oh yeah, you gotta save boxes like that when you're, you know, a
Yeah.
certain age.
It had 980 out of 1200.
So the box originally it had 3 of them in it. They have since been drank. I saved the highest proof one for you ladies.
Yay!
And
Aged 20 months.
20 months. Okay, not quite 2 years.
Well, it's like, it says aged, okay, aged to perfection for 20 months, continue to age up to 5 years.
Here's the porn shot of the box, just because I feel like it.
Yeah, this is really good.
Yeah.
Its Dark Charge Imperial Stout celebrates the time-honored tradition of barrel aging and skilled craftsmanship of Kentucky distilling. Aged in New Riff distilling bottles in bond barrels, then in 6-year 100% malted rye whiskey barrels, this Imperial Stout has developed notes of deep chocolate, smooth oak, caramel, and subtle spice. These notes are complemented by a slight dark stone fruitiness that Dark Charge is known for. It is very delicious.
You did a very wonderful job reading it, dear.
I think I got better as I was reading it.
I dig the wax.
I do too.
I don't know. I don't know. It
It just
makes
makes
it
it
seem
seem more badass.
It
more,
does.
more cared about. More
like Renaissance festival type.
The other two
Something.
the other two that were in the package, one had orange wax, one had like blue wax.
I remember the blue. I thought that was blue and red, but go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been trying very hard not to crack into this without you, so I'm glad it was finally my turn to get this one because right before we went on our little holiday hiatus, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna have to survive fucking New Year's,
Right.
you motherfucker.
That's so funny.
Dark Charge Day when they had that, they had all three of them down, all three they had down there, and they had a pairing thing upstairs where you could try a shot of the bourbon that the bourbon barrels that these were aged in along with the beer. Oh my god, dude, that was a wonderful way to get hammered. We'll put it that way.
I bet so.
I don't often get hammered.
Right.
I'll just state that I'm glad that Zach agreed to drive. Because, whew.
I'm glad Zach agreed to drive because he was just as hammered as me. But I'm just not a fan of killing people.
But,
So it's cool to let other people kill people.
And I'm not a fan of getting pulled over when I'm drunk.
Right.
Yeah, mostly
I'm
that.
not a fan of sitting in a driver's and passenger seat and just exercising my right to remain silent and not saying a fucking word.
Well, I mean, I'm of age, and if he's driving drunk, I said, oh no, don't do that, take an Uber. Okay, I'm covered. But that is
No, but you got in the car with him instead of taking the Uber. I don't know how that works though, because it's like I think if you're drunk, you don't know that the other person's drunk, so it's like I feel like you should be okay as long as you don't run your mouth.
Yeah, does that make you an accessory if you start running your mouth? I don't really know how that works.
I think they would just.
I would assume nothing.
I don't know, that's kind of the last time I really hung out with old dude anyway. His wife was thoroughly pleased by him hanging out and going out to more drinking, so.
That's cool. That's all right.
And, well, she don't necessarily like me, but that's all right.
Yeah.
The last time I had one of those, I was like saving the bottle to do like cool shit with it, and my daughter came up and like OCD just picked all the wax off. I'm like, man, you ruined it.
I was really like my hands kept wanting to pick the wax off.
I'm like looking at it and wanting to do the same.
And I'm like, no, he saved the box. He doesn't, because right when he was pulling the box out, he's like, getting ready to pick some wax off, and he's like, and I saved the box. Like, nope, he wants to save that waxy bottle for me.
At the very least, save it for the pictures, okay?
Right.
You take the pictures, then you can strip off the wax. Ariana, you can have that like pleasure, or I don't even fucking care really.
That's really good.
Yeah, because you know how good I am at taking pictures. I took pictures. Okay, so I took pictures of the last one.
Yeah.
But I just never posted them on social media. I have the pictures, they're just not on social media.
Hell yeah, but it works.
I'm fucking ridiculous.
I mean, you took the pictures, that's what matters.
It happens. Right, yeah. I think even if you're not feeling very creative, just be like, fuck it, just set
That's
them up
basically
all.
what I did. Like right after you guys left, I sat them on the fucking kitchen counter and I was like, boop.
Right. I mean, at the very least, just, a nice picture of it, and even if you don't get the picture very nice, I could edit it and make it look super nice, and it's just like, oh, lighting sucked, but guess what? We're just going to Photoshop this.
So I got a cool story.
What's your cool story?
So for Christmas, a lady at work gave us,
Articles?
no. So,
Did you say soap?
yeah, like it was like natural soap, like handmade soap, and it was like a little stocking and it had like soap and candy cane and stuff like that.
That's fun.
And it was, it was like made by a local person or whatever. It was just like lye soap and it smelled really good or whatever. So it's been sitting in the kitchen. I had it just sitting up on the shelf for a while, and I just happened to see it the other day, and I was like, man, I'm gonna use this, you know? So like, I took it, I was like, I'm gonna use it in the shower. You know, I took it in the shower, and I like get my washcloth all soapy or whatever.
Did you soap your breasts up like a porno?
No.
Since you're talking about pornos
I
earlier,
mean,
because in pornos they always excessively soap the titties.
no, I don't. You know, I just try to get it brushed through. But anyway, what I was doing is I got all like rubbed it in my inner thighs or whatever, and it managed to get itself up in my labia, and it burnt
That lie.
like a motherfucker.
Fucking lie, yeah.
So like, I'm in the shower and my shit is burning, and I'm like jumping like
That's how
from
you
foot
know
to foot, going, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
That's
oh
how
my
you
god.
know it's clean.
And I'm like, I gotta rinse it. So I like rinse the shit off. And it's still fucking burning.
So
and
you
I'm
rinsed the shit off, like what horrible position did you put yourself in?
Yeah, like,
like just on your back with your legs spread out.
No, like I have the removable shower
Shit,
head
yeah, there you go.
because I like to be rinsed off.
Because I like to,
and other things.
Removable shower head. She man, we get it. It's all good. She's
right, yeah, I like to do that with my removable shower head too. I'm just home alone, nobody's there, and just got the music blaring. Like,
that is the first thing that happened in my house. Removable shower head. Plumber, I need this removable shower head.
Why? Don't ask questions. And that's a whole other type of porno.
So I rinsed that shit off, and it's still fucking burning, and I'm like sitting there like, oh my fucking god,
like what do you put on it? Because you don't want to put anything else on it.
I use, like I have like a special like girl
shit,
stuff,
right, there you go. But do you want to add to it and make it worse, or
like once I washed myself with my stuff, it stopped burning. But like after just rinsing it with water did not fucking do it, man. And I'm like in the shower, and it was probably comical as fuck if somebody was watching me, because I'm just like jumping from foot to foot, like, oh my god, fucking burn, oh my god.
And now she knows what it's like to get the clap, and she never wants it.
Yeah.
On the bright side, if she gets the clap and she uses the light soap, problem solved.
Right,
do not accidentally get soap, because I don't use regular soap down there.
Right.
Because, yeah.
I feel like that must be a really strong lye soap. Because I have a friend that made me soap one time.
So I can imagine the days when lye soap was all they had.
And they never washed their vaginas then. I just, water, that's it. But so like my friend made lye soap because she was like, because she said, when she gave it to me, she said it's still got to cure, you got to let it sit like a week or two or whatever. It's got to sit for a while. And so it sounds like you let yours sit for a while because you said you let it sit for a while, and so then like you used it and it was still, so it's either really strong with the lye or just, maybe whatever else is in it.
Yeah, I don't know what was in it. It smelled really good.
But it was just really funny because like I immediately pictured you doing that. But it's even funnier because like that reminds me of one time Logan was so young. He was in the shower and I was like, I just decided to be a dick. And I walked in there, snuck in on him, and dumped a thing of cold water on him. And he's so little at this point, so he can actually full-fledged run back and forth. He's just running in circles in the bath. Circles back and forth. And it was just the funniest thing. It's like, I don't know. That's what put me in mind. I'm like, Ariana's running circles in the bath, in the shower. Like, ah!
I can just tell, by the way, this shit's hit you guys, because you're all like, hey, what the fuck, man? Oh my god.
It's really buzzy now. Like,
15.5% something.
It is. Because they wouldn't do a pre-beer.
Now I gotta leave for a second.
Like, this is why I said.
I think we didn't do a pre-beer.
That I warned you.
Because we still have other beer that I'm going to drink some of.
The that stuff's?
Yes. Tailspin. Kitty.
See, when I saw the name Tailspin, my brain was like, was that like the Disney cartoon?
Right.
And after that, I'm like, no, probably not.
Well, see, I feel like because the Tailspin Disney cartoon was also airplane related. That was. So that's similar name reason being why. I mean, apparently it must be a term that is used.
It's like an Air Force plane maneuver thing or something. I don't know. God, I've been waiting for this so long. I am not fucking disappointed.
It was really good. I'm not disappointed either. It literally though, it tastes like the dragon's blood on steroids, like super good.
So, did you realize it was going to be the Dark Charge Day or shit or not?
I knew it was. I knew it was Dark Charge. That was the only thing. Like when you showed me the 3 bottles you got, I mean, I just kind of half-assed paid attention, but I made sure to be like, no, I don't really fucking care, because then I didn't want to have any idea which one would be the.
I promised Francis one, and then we drank and cracked another one on New Year's, and I'm like, I really wanted this one on New Year's. It's like, I gotta stop myself, man.
Right.
So.
Do you feel better?
Yes.
Shake it more than twice?
I didn't shake it because I don't have a wiener.
She doesn't
Okay.
shake them.
Well, if you shake
We already established
Well,
that with the last story.
I mean, right.
if you're shaking it more than twice, you play with it.
I
Okay?
bet if it
I probably
runs.
would. If I had a wiener, I would shake it like
A lot.
12 times. Maybe
This
30.
is what you call masturbating, and it happens a lot, okay, man?
If you.
Wait, I want some more.
Well, there's no.
That's all. This is all.
Right.
This is all the good stuff. She's just mixing those two.
Yeah.
This is the problem with special edition.
Yeah, see.
This is the problem with special edition beer. That's it.
That's delicious.
It is. And I wanted to share it with my favorite ladies, so.
Hell yeah, thank you.
We
Appreciate
really
it.
appreciate that.
That's right.
So I had an experience this week, and I was on my way home from work, and I get off early. I get off at like 2:30, and
It's like
Driving-
this, like slightly bourbon-y, not burning bourbon flavor. That's just,
Smooth.
sorry, last sip. That was my thought. Go
I'm
ahead.
driving down this road through this woods, and my thoughts are like, watch out for deer. And I'm kind of like looking in the trees for deer, and I'm like, it's the middle of the day. I mean, I see deer every once in a while in the middle of the day, but usually I see them more towards the evening or in like
Early
morning.
morning. Right.
So I'm like, watch out, like my mind just goes, watch out for deer, which I've had this experience before. And I like get up to like the road dead ends, and I turn, and I get down the road a little bit, and there's like 6 deer running in the field, and they're like getting ready to like run out into the road, and they see me, and they kind of all turn and start like running parallel with the road. And I'm like sitting there thinking, like, you have these experiences, like you're just like sitting there on autopilot when you're driving or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's like, I've had this before where I'm like, get it in my head, like there's going to be a deer, or there's going to be a cop, or, you
And
just get
it's
like
it.
a picture in your
Right.
head, and then you see it like not too far, like I'll slow down and see it down the road like a little ways. And if I didn't slow down, I would have either hit it or I would get pulled over
Right.
or something like that. And I don't know, it just makes me like wonder, like I've heard different viewpoints on what people think about it,
Spirit guides.
See, I think
I
just-
don't think that, but I've heard that.
So,
I just think it's your mind, because your mind's
I don't-
not
I haven't looked at Snapchat.
Work shit.
He sends me these every day.
Nice.
sweet.
But anyway, you think it's your mind.
So I just think you're, like everybody has kind of like a psychic abilities type. Some people would think coincidence, or
Right.
I heard like, I haven't seen this in a while, so it's gonna happen, or like that's one thing I've heard. But I think like your mind just is like relaxed, and like you can know things
Yes.
when your mind is relaxed.
So I will agree with that, because I forget what I'm like real big into this dude, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I bought a course of his. I know I've said something about him. I bought a course of his, and so he's talking about like when you meditate.
I think I have a book or something of his.
He might.
Maybe.
He's got some books and shit. So he's talking about like when you meditate, and he does this, and it's in a scientific manner. He talks about the science portion of it, and he's even gone as far as he's had I forget who the person was. They were like literally they were doing like cancer treatments in the Cleveland Clinic, and I think it was cancer, because that's like, or whatever, because I know he's worked with cancer patients, and they decided they wanted to forego their cancer treatments, but they were doing like meditation, and his thing is basically like when you get something that you want, you have all the emotions associated with that, like happiness, this, and this, and gratitude. So it's like gratitude is the emotional signature for what you want. So why not picture yourself being grateful for that, and then you will have that. And he's proved that several times by just having people do that. But like, I mean, they've done studies where the one patient. They had several people, but he said the one at the Cleveland clinic basically just said, "Fuck it, I'm not doing my treatments and this and that and whatever." And so they were doing like labs and blood draws and all kinds of like scans and all kinds of shit of people getting into a really deep meditative state and going through all this shit.
Mhm.
And like it's like they're going science level with this shit, and it's like going through.
Well, this is like placebo medicine and shit. That's why they like to do with medicines. They'll
Right.
do the placebo thing because it's the. I don't believe in a lot of that shit. You guys know that,
Right.
but there's been countless studies of the placebo effect, which is why they do that. If they're doing trials, they go, okay, so you're gonna get the real one, you're gonna get the fake one. You guys don't know which, but you both think you're getting the real one, and we're gonna measure who's actually getting better. And a part of it is, mind over matter. If I think I'm going to get better and I want to get better, I'm going to do it.
And you're already happy the fact that you are, but I'm better because I have this medicine.
But
no, you don't have that medicine, but you're better because you're putting yourself in that mind frame.
But if
and
you're
that's literally like
along
right.
the same lines, if you're like, I'm not going to fucking get better, this is bullshit.
Your medicine
you're going to get the medicine
won't work as well
or the placebo. It's not going to work as better because
right.
you're not going to try and do the things necessary, like the exercises and all that sort of stuff
right.
to make yourself get better.
So then, not to cut you off, but so basically he's saying that, so young kids and like from something to 2 to 6, and then there's like alpha brain waves, beta brain waves, delta, and whatever.
Theta.
And so it's like whatever state you're in, like, because you'll experience those as an adult, but it's generally pre-sleep and post-sleep. But when you're a kid, you don't get a lot of the beta, and beta is more so fight or flight. So if you're like continuously in that, like you don't have the well, we'll say psychic ability. He doesn't really talk about it as a psychic ability, but that's where they say like kids more likely to have the psychic ability, and that would be why they don't have the outside. It's all internal, creative, this, that, and whatever. And adults generally get rid of that because they have the programming and all this shit of like, you have to do this to be an adult. You have to do this. You have to do this. But
Put
it's
on pants.
yeah. Instead
That's
of being
bullshit.
naked,
Take my
it's
face.
right. Instead of sitting
wearing
around,
underwear.
right, and rubbing Cheerios all over your genitals and then sticking your hands in the bag and eating it, like
That's what you do as an adult, man.
Well, it's bullshit that we can't do that.
I mean, you can.
Fact. That'd be just so hilarious.
Missy, if that's what you want to do, tell us
What?
about your experience in the next episode, please.
I tried wearing good underwear the other day, and I got so tired of wearing underwear that I'm like, fuck this, I'm just taking these off.
And for me, it's like I'm such a bitch when it comes to being cold that I hate the cold.
I don't remember how much you hate the cold.
So I'm wearing, obviously, got the pants on underneath. And so, it's like, it gets really restrictive and uncomfortable wearing underwear along with that because it's like I already have the underwear just super long down to my ankles. So I just don't wear underwear when I'm wearing another pair of something underneath.
So going back to like the
Hey, Missy, what are you wearing under there?
Underwear.
Going back to like the psychic, like while you're driving thing,
Uh-huh.
what's your thoughts on this, Ron? Because I know you don't believe in that kind of stuff, but you've had those experiences.
I have
right?
had those experiences.
So what do you think they are?
The highway hypnosis shit, you're in a really...
The highway hypnosis shit, usually that means I'm gonna fucking fall asleep.
Because you're in that particular alpha
You're in that
brainwave state.
zone, you kind of get there. As far as like the hypnosis, what's going on, I don't know about that part and like the psychic part, but I've been there, like there's something coming up and I kind of feel extra anticipating. I don't know. Too many things I've seen and experienced in my life, I just can't believe in any of that shit anymore. You talking about the programming as an adult.
See, I'm opposite experience.
I'm an IT person.
Right, I have all the opposite experiences too.
Because I'm an IT person and I deal with
look at it opposite.
I deal with literally everything that is literally programmed every day. I can't think that way anymore,
Because the thing
Fair.
is, like, I've had so many like supernatural type experiences that I'm like, I can't not believe it.
Right, like,
because I've had like so many things happen that are just so weird that don't make any sense that I can't explain.
Even if all the information out there is wrong, there's something that we're all missing that's like it's there, but you don't know how it's there.
The last thing that I can remember that really...
You just interpret it differently is what it is.
Right.
The last thing that I can still remember that was like, triggered that like, I'll call it primitive, like psychic, what the fuck was that sort of a shit in my mind. I still remember to this day when I moved into my fucking house. And I just got the place, and the house is built in like 1905 or so. I was changing the door locks after the old owners finally got their shit and got the hell out. And I changed the back door locks, cool. I was changing the front door locks. What is now the game room door was completely shut and latched.
I remember you telling me about this, but
And
your house you're in now, right?
Yes,
okay,
correct.
Yes.
I was changing the front door lock, and the fucking door to the game room like unlocked itself and creaked open slowly. I looked over, it was just like cold chills running down my spine. I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, hi, I bought this house. I own this place now. I literally said it out loud. I was like, so be cool, or I'll find a fucking exorcist and get rid of your ass. If you're cool, I'm cool. And I swear to God, the door went and slowly shut itself again.
That's fucked up.
And
see, I would read into that. There's something there. Something's going on.
And you know, I have never had a problem since with anything. Now, my daughter has since in the interim said that like she sees things out of the corner of her eye and shit like that.
I get that.
She's young, right? But
we recently had a cat die back, you know, not too long ago,
and she keeps seeing it, or a black
little black fluff, and she'd always think that was Hermione. Hermione was a little black fluff ball of a cat. And she was like, I would always see that. She was telling me the other day, you know, I will see shit out of the corner of my eye, and my brain before, be like, oh, it's just Hermione, it's just Hermione. Hermione's not there anymore. She was telling me actively, she was still seeing that. I'm like, I have no idea. Not too long ago, where the last place I saw Hermione alive at was under a chair in the laundry room. And I looked down for a second, and I swear, for like half a second, my brain was like, what? No, that wasn't Hermione. I'm like, no, I'm just seeing shit.
So when the door closed, what do you think it was? I mean, you were talking to something. So it's like...
Right.
I'm not questioning it, because I feel like at this particular point, if I go into my house and I start questioning things...
more shit will happen?
I will start noticing things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
yeah.
I've been there, 7, 8 years now, and I don't want to start questioning things in my house that I am used to. You know what I'm saying? The natural order of things, and if there are spirits there, obviously they've accepted that I own the place. I haven't burned it down. They haven't had any great protest at what I've done.
Are you saying you don't know if you believe in spirits, or you do believe in spirits?
I don't know.
Gotcha.
That's fair. That's really fair, because there's like a lot of things that I'm like, it's really weird, because things that I thought when I was young, I like absolutely fucking forgot, and now like I see like a bunch of shit online, and I'm like, yeah, I always did shit like that. I always did shit like that's fucked up. I did shit like that. Is that why that? And it's like really weird.
It's hard to tell it, because I think of the brain as like a really fallible computer. Okay.
Fair.
The human brain is incredibly.
Basically, yeah. It's
like, incredibly easy to fuck with the human brain. You know, you don't have to look far online for like things that just fuck with your visuals. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Just to say optical illusions. And what's to say, you know, is it a spirit, or is it some like magnetic field fucking with your brain's ability to process reality?
And that's, you know, okay, so even if you don't believe in this, well, this is why I believe in energy and reincarnation. So an atom has, it's like, I've not really looked way into it, but I know that there's like, whatever it is, like it's, there's like protons, neutrons, and electrons. So there's some part of it, and these are like, the little particles are all real small in each atom. Mm-hmm. They're super small, but there's a part of it, like one of them is really dense and heavy, and that's what creates the weight, but it moves around really fucking fast. Mm-hmm. So if they were all to be aligned in the same, like the optimal place in my hand as this table, theoretically I could slap my hand straight through.
A couple days off and a couple weeks off, and I was just like, I have to wait till mid-January to drink that stuff.
Right.
That is depressing and sad.
So anyway, we're talking about how amazing the dark charge beer is. But anyway, so with the being able to slap my hand straight through a table, so that means we are in fact mostly energy. So then if the body dies, because scientifically the law of energy is you cannot create or destroy energy, it can only be transferred. So it has to go someplace. That's where I say that reincarnation, like, shit has to exist. Like, it just, and if it does not go someplace, it's just energy with no physical form. Like,
see, my dumb brain says that the energy generated in here is like the power generated in a CPU, and once you unplug it, that's it. There's no more anything to be done.
Okay.
there's still energy in it.
But if you plug it back in, replace the power supply, theoretically, if you could replace all the shit that powers your brain later, without it turning to crap, you could bring somebody back to life like a zombie horror film.
Because shit expires. Plastic and everything else does not expire.
So I don't know if I've told you guys this story or not, but one time.
Would you want another mix of this?
I am not drinking anything else because it makes me sad.
Okay, so I was this was when I was living in Lewisburg, and I was driving at night.
How much is left?
No, nothing.
Okay, we're good then.
And
I didn't think we drink all that, by the way.
I figured we would.
so I was driving at night. I was probably like 19 or 20 years old. My dad had just died when I was like right after I graduated. I'm driving. All of a sudden, I get like this feeling that my dad is sitting in the passenger seat. And I mean, it was like the strongest feeling I've ever had of like a love that you can't imagine on this earth. Like it was just like I was completely like enveloped in being loved. Like I've never felt anything like that since or before that. And so I'm driving down this, in the middle of the night, it's like midnight or something, and I'm like driving, and like all of a sudden just like, what the fuck? Like I felt like I could look over and he would be sitting there.
That's absolutely crazy.
So I stop, I stop at a stop sign, and I'm kind of out of breath because I'm like, it was like such a strong feeling, and I look over and there's nothing there that I can see physically, but like the feeling like was there, it lasted maybe like 30 seconds or something. So my family doesn't really talk about stuff like that. And it was probably a couple years later, I brought it up to my brother, and he had the exact same experience.
Really?
Yeah.
Like would it have been like the same night, same area,
know.
or just at one time?
I don't know. It was, it was a couple years later because we don't really talk about stuff like that, So I'm just kind of like I don't know. I feel uncomfortable talking to my family about stuff.
Right, because a lot of people don't believe shit like that.
You don't
Like,
want
you're fucking weird, you're crazy.
You don't want to be crazy.
But I told him about that, and he was like, what? He's like, I had that same thing. He was driving, and it was like the exact same thing happened to him.
That's crazy. That's I would believe that. Last week, did I talk? Because I don't remember when this happened. I remember telling Larry about it, because Larry is like always one that don't believe. It's fucking delicious.
It doesn't taste as good after drinking.
Right.
Like I said, it was
tastes
like
better.
It was like drinking a fine wine
versus.
To me, it was like drinking a fine wine versus paint thinner.
It's not that bad. I think this is good after drinking. But it tastes better after drinking that than it did before drinking that, but still nothing in comparison to what that was.
Right.
Because that right there, I'm kind of like, ooh, I have some dark chocolate in the
Like,
freezer. I'm gonna go home and eat some.
I don't know if we can top that one.
No, that was a really good one. The one that I had a couple weeks ago was the really thick one was very comparable to that. It was a lot sweeter.
It was like the
it was a lot sweeter.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Nice
Keep
crack,
talking.
Ron.
Nice
Nice
crack is always showing.
Super hairy.
It's that too much liquid thing.
Right. I don't know if I was my astral projection thing. I haven't tried doing that since, but I'm like, I do meditate. So when I meditate early morning, so like your early morning, later evening is like where you're really good in like the alpha and theta and delta waves. So a lot of times when I drop my kids off at school, I'll like meditate. And for me to be able to actually just calm my brain down and focus, it literally takes about 20 to 30 minutes. So I'll get like an hour meditation type thing that I'll do. And when I do it, I'll feel here, and my lower legs. Okay, so you know when a body part falls asleep and you feel that? It doesn't even feel like that. It's literally feels like it's vibrating on the outside of me. And it's like, it's really fucking weird. And I'm not asleep because then when I notice, because like I'm almost to the point where I'm asleep and I start feeling it and I don't jolt awake, but I'm like, oh, I'm feeling it again. It's really weird. So then at that point is supposed to be a really good point in which if you believe in astral projection would be the point in which you'd be able to do it. So one night I was in my bed and I woke up, I don't know what time it was or anything, but I was laying on my side. And so in my room, the furnace is in my room. There's been times where I woke up and I was like, what's that noise? I'm like, is that like a ringing? No, it's the furnace. This one time I woke up and my eyes were closed and I kept them closed. And it was really weird because I was like, everything was like pitch black. But my laptop is like that, open in my room. So there's always a light from my laptop in my room. But it was pitch black, so I know my eyes were shut. And I'm consciously thinking, I'm hearing like bells ringing. Did I mention this last week?
I don't think so.
I'm like hearing these like bells ringing, and it's such like it's like a really weird sound of bells ringing. I'm like, what's that? Is that my furnace? I'm like, no, that's bells. Is that my furnace? No, that's bells. That's totally bells. I'm like, holy shit. Because I've only heard this one other time. Okay, so I've heard the bell thing several times, but I've heard, so there's like the astral plane, there's this plane, there's like 4 different planes, and they all sound different, like if you're able to go into them. Mm-hmm. But the astral plane is bells. I'm like, this is a good time to try to astral project. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is what, because I'm hearing bells. I'm like, and I'm fucking awake. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to try to get out. But I'm dead ass, like comfy as shit on my side. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to get up. And I'm like, I can't get up. There's no moving. I can't move. And then I'm like, okay, we're gonna try the rollover method that I've heard. And I'm like, I can't roll my body. I'm like, I can't roll out. Like, I don't feel anything. That's just it. Like, I couldn't feel any type of trying to move. I'm like, I couldn't, nothing. And I'm like, maybe I can slowly roll over onto my back and stay in this state and then try it again. And it's funny because I tried to roll onto my back. So, like in my head before, the 2 times I was trying to lift out of my body. The 3rd time I was like, I need to fucking move my body. I couldn't move. I'm like, I can't move. I'm stuck where I am. And then I was like, keep your eyes closed because if you open them, you're going to fuck it up. And I'm like, let's roll over. It's going to roll over. So I was like, open my eyes a little bit. Finally, I opened my eyes. And as I was starting to roll over, that ringing went away. I'm like, God damn it, I fucked it up. But that's like, I was literally in an awake state.
You told us about that before.
Did I? Okay,
Yes,
I was gonna say I didn't know if I did.
I do remember that.
No, and I'm just like
it's bullshit.
It's bullshit again. I'm sick of hearing this.
Completely intrigued, like really?
I know I was awake. It was the most fucked up feeling in the world, and that's just it. It was.
This is what I've talked about, the human brain being a super fallible fucking computer.
But the thing of it is, it's so intense. Like, there's something more to it because of how intense it feels. And when you wake up, you are so emotionally overdriven. And for that to happen to me, I'm like,
yeah, that's not you.
You don't have to
That's
sleep out.
not you at all.
Right. And I'm like,
me.
this is fucked up. Right. And
That's not you.
I've had that happen before when I was attempting to astral project and I couldn't see shit. And I felt like, when I was trying to lift my head, I couldn't tell if it was my body or whatever is supposed to come out. And I couldn't tell. And so then all of a sudden I was like, I think this is what I told. I was like, no, fine, fuck it. I'm just going to lay back down and then get up. But I'm like, why would I have to lay back down before I got up?
Right. Right.
Like, you know, so I'm like, but when I was laying down, it took me forever to lay back down. And when I opened my eyes, I was freaking out. Like, so I had 2 moments of fucking freaking out, like, brink of, like, emotional, I'm fucking crazy. Like, very emotional. I'm like, I'm not used to such. Like, it was weird. Twice. I don't know. There's definitely something more there that is whatever versus.
My main thoughts are on any of that sort of a spiritual, like ghosts, existence, and all that sort of shit. At this particular point in my life, I feel I will find out when I'm fucking dead. I hate to say that, but
Well, that's
I
just
get
it.
that. I mean, some
at this
people are that
particular
way.
point, I'll find out when I'm dead. I'm not going to concern myself at this point because I've got too much other things to keep me up with.
Not necessarily a bad way of thinking.
And it's funny because when I used to argue his side to other people about stupid shit, when you don't believe shit, you will argue it more and not be accepting of the people who believe it. But then when you're on the other side, you're like, it's cool. It's whatever. It's, you know, all right. I used to be like that. It'd be all right.
Yeah.
You live your life. You do your thing.
Yeah.
And then you'll do it again. You'll do it 20 times over until you do feel how I feel, and then you'll move on.
Well, the thing is, though, Ron's way of thinking is better for your sanity, I think.
Oh, it makes you feel like you're fucking crazy.
Right.
It does. You're just like, oh, shit's going on right here.
Well, shit's going on. Oh, well, I've got, well, shit's going on, whatever. I know this here is real, and I don't know about that shit, but I got other things to worry about.
Right.
And if I'm dead, well, I'm gonna fucking haunt your ass.
So I was also
Go
I
ahead.
was also gonna bring up another story, like from when I was a kid. So, and also
Bourbon,
like
good bourbon stouts make us start talking better.
yeah. So when I was a kid, I was in bed. I was like trying to sleep, and like all of a sudden, I just got this feeling like I was scared. I was like so scared, and you know, like when you're a kid, you're kind of taught to be scared of ghosts and that sort of thing, you know. So it's like that's scary stuff. But like I'm laying in bed and I'm freaking the fuck out. But I'm like, I have this feeling like my grandma was in my room with me or something. And I'm like internally, like, oh my God, I'm so scared. And like, I was under the covers and I'm thinking like my radio is going to turn on. And like, I'm freaking out. And then the radio just turns on. And I'm like, you know, I'm like 10 or something, you know. So maybe I'm remembering this wrong. I don't know.
Right.
But my radio turns on and I'm like, dude, did I have my like alarm set for AM instead of PM or PM instead,
Right.
you know, something like
Or
that.
set it for a really stupid time because
Yeah.
you want to wake up in the middle of the
And I
night.
checked it and it was like not set for whatever time it was supposed to be, you know, but my radio turned on by
That's weird.
itself. And like right before it turned on, I was freaking the fuck out, like something was there.
That's messed up.
And like, you know, I was like, fuck, and I turned it off and I like just put the covers over my head. And that's basically all I remember. But I just had this feeling like my grandma was there. But I shouldn't be scared, but I was scared to death. you
Right.
know?
So,
Very intense feeling.
so to kind of get in the way of that, but interject. So I've talked about this before, maybe on here, maybe not. But like all the ghost shows do that EVP recording shit with
Yes,
tapes.
Right.
Okay. And it's always, we can hear this on tape, but we can't hear this with our ears. Okay. Now stick to that. And their idea is that, you know, the microphone can pick up things that the human ear can't. Okay, fine. I want to know how long till ghosts and people start dying that, like, the ghost is going to fuck with my Alexa.
That would be funny.
Because it's like, you know, you're talking about your, you know, the radio turning on in the middle of the night. Okay, so the ghost is like, oh shit, that's an Alexa. I really like this song from when I was alive.
But the thing is,
And it's like, and the ghost is like, hey Alexa, play this obscure shit from like 35, 40 years ago that's never been when I was cool when I died. And all of a sudden in the middle of the night, it's just like, you know, some like creepy old jazz music or some shit.
the thing is, though, I was freaking out about it before it happened, you know? I was like I was like internally like freaking the fuck out, you know? Like my heart was beating, I was breathing heavy and shit. And then it happens and I'm like, what the fuck?
So I'll just put my own personal opinion on that. So if everything is energy, all energy has a frequency, a wavelength. It's all different. if you can match an energy, like a frequency with something, then like that can happen. So if you are, let's say, because we'll say ghost because like that's a good term to use, because that's what we would describe them as. Now I would just say an energy being that doesn't have the body. They are more mentally elevated at that sense because they do not have to come back to be a person to figure out that, like, basically they don't have to figure shit out. They're like at that next level.
Right.
So they can manipulate their energy. They're much better at this shit. So they can just be like, zoop, there you go. There's that. But so this is funny. So a couple things that, like, I was reminded from some things that you said.
Dude, I have to go to the bathroom so bad right
Man.
Damn it! Go to the bathroom and then
So-
I'll have to.
Sorry.
I'll hold it for you because you were interested in this shit.
This episode may hold the record for the most times we've gone piss.
And probably I have to piss so bad, but I'm going to wait till she comes back and I'm going to go on with what I want to say.
These fucking giant ass beers and this fucking high proof
They
shit.
are.
Yeah.
Like this is a 32 and 32.
How many ounces?
And this is probably a 32 as well, because not nearly as wide. I don't know. It's 1 pint. Wait, 1 pint and 6 fluid ounces. A pint is.
It's less than those, but it's still.
I thought a pint was 16. So is that 22?
Maybe.
So that's 30 or 64.86, and we're used to, let's say, 2 12s and a 16.
Yeah.
So we'll say 24 and 16. So 40.
She's fine.
40.
You made it. You made
Sorry.
it.
We're used to
It's
having.
okay. Missy said she has to pee too, so
Well,
we're
no,
gonna
I'm
drag
not
this
even
out
gonna
as
go
long
piss.
as we
I'm
can.
not even gonna go piss.
And the next thing we're gonna talk about is the sound of like ocean waves and just relaxing
Cool.
things.
But no, so
Drip.
my things that I remembered, one of them I forgot, the one that I was immediately talking about. So it was about the energy thing, and I don't remember
You're all excited to
what
say it.
about I was. But no, the other thing that I remembered, so you guys were talking about like seeing shit,
And I talked about Alexa maybe hearing ghosts.
right? So I'm not quite sure. So it's basically like your energy, when you're no longer a person, you know how to regulate your energy better. Like you're just an energy being. But so when you were talking about your daughter seeing shit, when I was like 4 or 5 years old at my grandma's house all the time, I always would see it. I swear to God, like it was like a little black figure. I would think she either had a cat or a dog. She never had pets till I was like fucking 14, 15 years old. And I always saw little pets running around. I'm like, oh, nothing, because nothing ran through the room. I'm just going to just sit back and be cool right now. And I would sometimes see that at my parents' house too, when about 4 or 5 years old, and that goes along with like the child having more of that like alpha states and stuff like that. But I do not remember. I should have texted myself. What did you talk about right before that? I was talking about something I cannot remember.
She's
Right.
like,
I was talking about the radio turning on and having the feeling that my grandma was there, but then I was also thinking, okay, so like, what is it called? I'm trying to think of what it's called. Like I used to know what it was called, where you can like manipulate, like where kids can manipulate electronics.
telekinesis?
Yes. And I was thinking, like they say that like kids or like teenagers or whatever, like whoever, like people that are going through
trauma and
yeah, like
their energy's
like,
different.
yeah,
Okay.
and
I've
I was
heard
one.
that.
I did have a lot of trauma at
Mhm.
the age that this happened at. So I'm like, what, like maybe it could have just been that. I don't know. Ron's over here like
Either or. He's like, fuck no. But no, so you reminded me. So when I babysat Lynn's kids, her 2 daughters that were the younger ones, because the older one was old enough and responsible enough to take care of herself, definitely not old enough to take care of the other younger ones. so, but I would be there watching the younger kids, and then the older daughter would be there. So she like, oh, cool, Missy, blah blah blah. And she'd always like, just like talk to me, and tell me all this shit. So she was telling me about how she was at her grandma's house that was just a few blocks halfway downtown, and how she was in the yard. She said she was like 5 or 6 years old, and she was like swinging on a swing set, and there was a tree in the yard, big huge tree, and there were ghosts in the tree talking to her, and they were saying shit to her and just talking about family shit. And then she was like, yeah, and then this happened. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm just like, I was like, she's lying to impress me. Like, she thought I was the shit. She always told shit to impress me. I'm like, there's not, whatever. And then I was talking to her mom a couple years later, and her mom told me the same shit. The exact same fucking story. I'm like, dude, Amanda told me this a while back. And she's like, oh yeah. She said there was shit like that she would tell her. Like, she gave specifics saying, oh, and this person said their name was this, and they were wearing this, and this. And there was no reason for her to know. And like Lynn said, some of the people that she described, like one person, like down to the necklace, the jewelry that this lady was wearing, that was the shit that she wore at a funeral that Amanda would have never been able to attend, because either she would have been like too young to remember, or she was not even alive when that happened. And then, so she said she saw that figure. And then she was saying like there were people, names that she mentioned and stuff about these people, and Lynn had no idea who they were, and she had to ask her dad, and her dad was like, yeah, he's an old person, blah, blah, blah. Like, his grandparent, his great-grandparent. Shit that nobody would have known anything about.
Right.
And yet this little girl is, like, saying this shit to her mom. And I'm like, okay, cool, if you would have claimed that happened, like, it just, like, the instance in which it was told to me. Like, she was 12, told me it happened to her when she was 5 or 6, and then like 2 years later her mom's telling me this story, the same fucking story. I'm like no. And at this point, like in shortly after I met Lynn, her sister and brother-in-law, he's like so fucking bored. He's drawing in the couch.
I drew the word dick.
I drew. He's so fucking bored. He's not even listening.
This is such bullshit.
Mommy, why do I have to be here? But no.
I ran out of beer.
But no, like literally, like I went to Lynn's house all the time. He did put a dick. I went to Lynn's house all the time.
You sure it's that big?
And like Lynn had issues with like her younger kids' dad and this and that, whatever. And her sister and brother-in-law, like, for whatever reason, basically gave reason to say they needed custody of the older child, but they never took custody of the younger children for no reason whatsoever. And Amanda was gone. Amanda was gone for like those 2 years. Like, Amanda told me that shit, and then like shortly after that she was gone. And then, like, a couple years later, Lynn told me this shit. So it wasn't even recent or relevant. She had no contact with her daughter whatsoever during that even 2-year time. Like, I'm just like, she couldn't even collaborate with her daughter. Her daughter couldn't have been like, yeah, Mom, a couple years ago I told Missy the story. Keep the lie up to make it seem real. Like,
right.
Like, I just, shit like that makes me believe that.
Ronald?
Yeah, I'm bored. Not really. But we have hit time and some.
We have hit time.
It seemed like there was another story I was getting ready to tell, like, that kind of had something to do with that, but I was gonna, it was like reincarnation, where they like talk, little kids bring up who they were in a past life or whatever, and they have like all this specific information.
That a kid couldn't be able to make that
like
shit up.
where would this come from?
And they look up the places.
Yeah, and they look up like the person's name or something, and like that person actually
existed, right?
And, like all of the information is correct and stuff like that. So where do you stand on that, Ron?
Me.
bullshit.
Like the parents are lying, they're full of shit.
They might. I mean, I don't know.
It's
interesting to me though.
Right.
It's
interesting, but hard to prove.
One of
Right.
the things
Agree.
when I was younger, I always wanted to believe in ghosts and shit. And one of the things that made me like a firm believer was your Aunt Pam talking about a boyfriend she had. And she was saying how like she was on her bed and then she woke up to somebody like grabbing her ribs. And then she was like, she just kept feeling the rib grabbing thing and then sat up. And then there was like a dude in a top hat just crept back into the corner. And that always made me believe when I was younger.
I don't remember that, but I do remember her talking about some, like a shadow sitting on the edge of her bed and like treating her like they knew her, kind of like they cared about her or something.
That was it.
I don't remember the top hat thing though.
But no, that made me believe. And then that's funny because I know I've told the story about my sleep paralysis the one time where I was feeling the shaking, the pushing on my ribs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not thinking about your aunt having that. I was like, that was like the same feeling I had, like around my ribs. It wasn't violent. It was just like an urgent, like before I opened my eyes, I thought I was gonna see Logan, and then I was like, I opened my eyes and nobody was there, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I tried to move and I couldn't move, and I tried to scream for help and I couldn't scream. That was very freaky too. It was very intense. I felt like I was gonna die, like an impending sense of doom. I was like, oh my God, maybe I should just act like I'm already dead, and then it'll go away. And my hand hit the ground, and I was like, all right, cool, went away.
So I got too much sleep apnea going on to tell what's real and what's sleep apnea induced lack of oxygen to the brain.
Meh.
That's him. That's not me.
What do you want, man?
You're not getting into that deep theta delta not beta state.
Are you gonna finally go pee?
Yes, I am.
Wait, hold on, don't go.
I was kind of wondering what he was gonna do, and I'm like, what, he's getting to a fucking pee fetish or something?
No, I just want to tuck you into your pee your pants.
That's funny.
So
Yeah.
most of my experience and all that shit is non.
Like you don't
Non-experience.
have any like cool experiences when you were a kid?
Before you talk, I'm gonna interrupt before I go to the bathroom. What about the CIA casually putting out there a information on astral projection? You can go to the CIA website. It is literally cia.gov.
Go piss, I'll talk about that.
It's out there.
So in the 1950s and 60s, when people first discovered acid, the CIA tried a lot of that shit to see if it was real. And they kept all that shit classified. Whether or not it was real, whether or not it was, it's hard to fucking tell. They never had any. I feel like if they would have had some conclusive proof of it, there would have been a lot of that shit put out there. A lot more would have leaked out to the public. It's not the kind of thing that would have kept quite so quiet as to like, well, you know, Cold War era Russians. And like, oh, the Russians are doing it too. We have these much better psychics because we have the American psychics. They didn't put it out as propaganda shit. Does that make sense?
I guess.
And spying in this day and age is so much easier because we all have little devices. The governmental Russians can spy on us right here.
We willingly get spied on now.
Yeah. That's a whole other rabbit hole to go down.
God, that is a rabbit hole. That's a rabbit hole for sure.
That's another whole episode, and I feel like if we go into that, the government will start spying on us harder.
Meh.
Probably.
What are they gonna do?
I don't know, I had that conversation with my brother over Christmas. He was all like, and the government's listening in on us, and they'll hear what we're saying. I'm like, yeah, but do they really care what you're saying?
Probably not.
No, they don't. They have all that
Not
info,
unless
but they
you
don't
have
care.
some kind of, like, dangerous thing.
You're a middle-class white American that doesn't own firearms. They don't fucking care.
We're like, I don't give a fuck about you. You just sit in your house and you don't give a fuck about anybody else.
You sit in the house and you watch Dukes of Hazzard. Ooh, wow, who cares?
Right.
You watch a show that might be considered mildly racist now. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
Mildly racist show. What's the mildly racist show?
Dukes
Dukes of
of Hazzard.
Hazzard.
What about it?
It has a Confederate flag and people get triggered.
Oh, that was
The
like
government doesn't give a shit what we're doing. We're just sitting in our house watching mildly racist shows.
right.
Yeah.
I feel like they're not coming into, like, people will be like, they've already infiltrated. Like, I was watching this dude on TikTok today, and he said something really cool about the never-ending story, so I followed him because of that. And then now he's like, he's way big into the, like, everything that, like, we like to talk about. But today, I unfollowed him because he's like, he's talking about some shit, and he's like, He goes, I'm having trouble coming up with the words. He's like, they're trying to block me from saying it right now. I'm like, no, they're not, dick.
They're not blocking you. You're just being dumb.
You're just dumb.
Right. There's some people that are way too extreme into it, and then there's some people like there's a part of it that I do believe in, like, you know, and then there's people that take it like shit way into the fucking extremes. And so like with the astral projection and the reading of auras, so I thought of long ago, I bought 2 books. I think you borrowed them from me. I feel like you borrowed at least one of them.
It's not surprising.
And we'll see, this was back when we were 14, 15, 16, I don't know. And the reason why I even heard or knew about it or even anything was my friend Ashley was telling me about how her dad could read auras and how her dad could astral project, and like him and a friend both could do it.
I remember you telling me something like that.
And they would meet up, like, and you can do that, like, I'm in a group where people are like, yeah, you can do that. You can totally meet up if you are meaning to astral project at the same time, and you do it and you say you're going to meet up. You can do that. And so, like, she said her dad would do that, and then her dad did it one time after he had married her mom, and her mom was like, it freaked her out because of like she said he was shaking and shit, and she said, I don't want you to ever do that again. So I mean, like, to my knowledge, it was like, okay, I never will. But I feel like from what people describe, I would not give that up. I'd be like, I'm going to totally fucking do it, just not in fucking front of you. It's harmless. But like with Ashley, the way Ashley just didn't lie. I know you know her. Ron never met her. She didn't lie. Her parents were very upstanding individuals. Like her dad had a career in the Air Force, and that's how he met Ashley's mom. She was in the Air Force for like 2 or 4 years. But these are very upstanding individuals to where I'm like, these people would not lie about this shit. Okay, I'm sold on that idea. So I bought the books and then probably read bits and pieces of them and then like let you borrow them. I don't know what happened to the books since. But that's just like another thing. Like, it was really weird because I didn't think about that until like recently when I started seeing more of the shit on like YouTube and TikTok and stuff like that. I'm like, oh yeah. And I feel more normal now that I'm back into those thoughts and feelings than I have for the longest time, which is really weird. Because that's not the normal. But I feel more normal being that person. I'm like, yeah, this is what I need to like invest my time into. Yes, sir.
They're the same brand.
They are. Yeah. See, these Larry bought them for Logan because Logan is all about his fucking dirty ass Crocs. like we basically had to force him to get shoes, and he didn't. Jacob picked the shoes out for him and all that shit. But no, like, look, Larry's like, well, maybe we'll buy him some dudes. Maybe he'll wear those because they're shoe-like, but they're Croc-like. And so I was like, you probably should take him out to go get them. He wanted to surprise him with them, and they didn't fit him. Like, he wore them a couple times, said, yeah, I kind of like them, and then they're kind of tight, and he does not wear them because they're too tight on his feet, because Larry did not buy the right size. And they're too big for me, but I wear them because they're my driving shoes. If I don't feel like putting on an actual pair of shoes, they will be what I wear when I do a long day of doing Uber and Lyft, which I got up super early today and did like 11 hours, so. It was good. Today was a good bonus day. I made like,
A bunch
I made like $250 in like 11 hours. It was really nice because like, I did some driving, like I usually do it a full day on Mondays, but I did like like 5 or 6 hours or whatever, and then I did.
We're way over on time.
That's cool. No, but I did like 5 or 6 hours. Then I took the boys to see Spider-Man, and then I did another 5 or 6 hours, and I had like 19 hours altogether, and I made like $450. I was like,
Nice.
fuck yeah.
Nice.
I was like, I played the bonuses right, and I'm like, I'm going to do it like this. And then I'll do a whole day Thursday, and hopefully I'll make another 300. And be good to go.
That's cool.
It's very much so cool.
Yeah. Fucking fuck yeah.
Hey, if I can make as much as I made in a 48-hour week in like 38 hours, I'm all about it. I don't care if I'm running my car into the ground. I'm building other shit online too. It'll be irrelevant.
So you get your car paid off soon enough that way.
If I make extra payments, it'll be irrelevant either way though, because I'm building an online business which will fucking grow. I'm cool with that. I'm manifesting that shit. Ariana and me believe I'm gonna pull some crystals out of my ass and just be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Unless you actually pull them out of your butthole.
Right.
Ron can just sit over there and stew in his non-belief.
In his IT. I'm gonna
Nice IT, Ron. Nice IT.
Me and
Hey, you know that pays well. What do you want?
Hey, it's cool. Me and Ariana will be just chilling in the 4th and 5th dimension until you get there, and then we'll like bring you with us. It'd be cool. You might have to go a few lifetimes. We might get impatient and say, dude, fuck that guy. We're gonna be in our ascension phase.
Get your ascension, lesbian, weirdo shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it
Be
be.
hanging out with her crystals.
Right.
In the 5th dimension.
That's right. Our crystals, but it won't even have to really need to be a crystal. It'll just be the energy of the crystal.
It could be a Jane. It could be. Never mind.
Well, I was gonna say that's funny. I get that, but I was gonna say it won't have to be the actual rock. It'll just be the energy force of the rock, because it'll be like in this phase of our ascension, there is no physical shit. It's just the energy behind it, and then it'll just be this, and it'll just be energy beings. Like I feel like that's our thing. We've known each other in past energy cycles and lives and shit like that. Like, we got a bond. It's a forever bond.
That's true.
You're stuck with me, bitch.
Damn it. Oh, wait, no. That's cool.
Yes!
I'm down with
Yeah,
that.
but we're stuck together.
I've
I've thought about that sometimes. I'm like, you know what? We have a like really good, very like just everything we say. We're just like, yeah, I was thinking
Right?
that. Yeah, I was thinking
And
that.
we're like different enough to where we like kind of balance each other out.
yes.
It's always kind of been that way. Like I'm like more emotional and you're more like
logical. Yeah, absolutely. And we do that. We have that. It's the shit in. We do it, and that's our thing. And that's like
it works.
absolutely.
It's so good.
It's our
Ron's
thing.
over there like, you guys are fucking
He's
weird.
like,
No,
fuck
I'm just
you
like,
guys.
no, I'm just like, okay. Now
These
you kiss
bitches
her.
I've known forever.
Now I'm just like, come on, now make
We're
it.
not making a porn. She's gonna write porn. We're not
No.
storing in the
Act
porn.
out that porn you're gonna write.
Gonna start making out. Gonna take off her top. Now you
You
try.
don't write the porn, Ron. You don't write the porn.
You don't write the porn.
Ariana force her head in her pussy. She's eating herself out.
No, you are not the porn writer. We are not the actors of this porn.
In my mind, you already are doing each other.
Oh god damn it.
He's manifesting it.
Now do it.
Okay, now it's time.
My thought was, if we really just busted out and did it, he'd be like, damn, now I believe that. He'd be like, oh, I always thought lesbians would
He's
be
like,
hot.
I thought I would be into this.
This is
No.
horrible. Lesbians are gross. You guys have turned me gay. Stop it right now. I think I'm
But
gay.
did we turn him gay?
No, I'd sit there and watch too. You guys are like, what are you doing? Just watching.
Did we turn
You're sitting here, you're like, we're asking, what are you doing? Just watching. Why? I don't know, why not?
Did we? I like the did we turn him gay. Francis, that's on you. If he cannot perform anymore,
I'd be
it's
like,
because he's always
We
been
did measure
gay.
the pasta to his butthole.
I'd be like, now look, is that how you eat pussy, man?
You see?
Pussy? You gotta like, no, you gotta work better than that. Come on, she's not even like fake.
I would
orgasm.
never take pussy eating advice from a dude. Sorry. Or criticism. You think I'm doing it wrong? You've been lied to your whole life about you doing it right.
No, the problem is when she starts.
True.
No, the problem is when she starts snoring.
I was talking about this today.
Oh, shit, yeah. That's it.
And on that note,
What did we learn today?
what did we learn today?
That Ron thinks he can give better pussy eating advice than a woman. Boy, Ron has been doing it wrong his whole life and has been being lied to.
Don't use lye soap on your vagina.
I bet that would hurt your man parts too.
Maybe.
So,
With Ron using the head and shoulder. With Ron using head and shoulders on his wiener at one time.
that was a long time ago. I don't have hair for that anymore.
Hey, I had last thought. I worked at a factory. We had a paint remover chemical. I was trying to remove the paint, and I forget how it happened. I don't know if it was on me, because I think I had paint right here, and I was spraying the paint remover right here, and it was literally just only on my pants. and it burned. Like I can feel that shit, like the little like the vapors of it, like fucking hitting my vagina. So yeah, like that shit is painful.
That is some hardcore shit.
Because I feel like I remember that particular day, like I had some gloves on. When I went to try to pull the glove off, I went like this, and I was like, wham! And I
Right in your pussy.
No, I had one of my friends standing beside me, and I just fucking punched him hard in the head of his dick. Right after I cleaned my...
You grabbed her by the pussy?
No, I just BAM! Right into the head of his dick after I cleaned the paint off my pants, and the fucking vapors went to my vagina. Ouch. It was a shit show that night.
And on that note... shit show that night in Missy's vagina.
Shit show. Welcome to the shit show in my vagina.
What I learned?
Yeah.
He learned that he likes to draw dicks on your fucking couch when he gets bored with all this spiritual ascension bullshit.
Pretty much. I learned that. I'm glad I saved that beer for you guys.
Yeah, I am too. It was delicious.
It was.
It's really funny because I'm like now all on the thought of if I just melt dark chocolate down and then blend it in with beer, it would not taste anything like that. I would try it thinking, oh, this might be good. I'd do it in a drunken stupor.
I was going to say, you'd have to be drunk to try that.
There's a lot that goes into that, and I'm hoping that the stout that I'm making for my birthday party turns out at least half
or
that.
a dark chocolate syrup? Like, would you be able to add dark chocolate syrup to a bourbon beer?
It's the amount of cacao you add.
Right, but would you be able to add like a dark chocolate syrup to like, let's say, a really good bourbon barrel, and then
Maybe.
Obviously it wouldn't be the same, but you could get like a hint of chocolate in it that way.
It depends on the.
Because you can add chocolate to liquor and it would be good.
The problem is it depends on what's in the chocolate syrup. I think.
Right.
It's not the chocolate part of it. It's
how it would mix with
most of that stuff is going to be corn syrup, and the preservatives mixed in with that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But I just mean like if I have a beer and I'm like, you know what, we're gonna try some dark chocolate syrup in there. We're gonna stir that shit around. I got my fucking my coffee thing. I forget what they call them, but it's like you push the button on it and it just and then froths it up. No, it froths it up. It's like a good coffee mixer. Man. And then that's it.
So that's what we learned today.
Ta-da. We learned that we should start drinking 64 and 16 and 6, 22.
We should get really fucking hammered.
80, 86.
Because they were just like one beer away from making out.
So,
our ratings
so
would
we
go
were.
way up.
I don't know about that.
So,
our ratings would go way up if they did that.
In your porn dreams.
Right, in Ron's porn dreams.
So in the comment section, do you think more people would watch us if they were just 30, making out the whole time? 30.
So we'd each have like 30 ounces of beer, but that one was like 3 times as much. So that one would be a lot of beer.
We can't do math. We're drunk.
Well, that's like 22, so that's more like 66. 66 plus 64.
We need to pull the calculator out.
66 plus 64. 110? No.
Close enough.
130.
It's 80 something.
130. 66 plus 64.
We suck at math.
It would be 70 plus 60, so 130. So
Ron's like, I'm getting
so
my
40. So we
you suck at math as much as we do.
So 40. So we each have like 43.3 ounces or something like that.
So there's 64 there. How many was there?
This is 22 because it's a pint and 6 ounces, and I think a pint's 16 ounces.
We had about 28 ounces of beer each.
Nice.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like much.
Because if there's 64 plus that,
like
divided by 3.
2.5 beers.
Times that by 3.
64. But you have to consider this alcohol percentage, which is 3 times as much as those. Which is, these are a standard beer, this is not a standard beer. So you have to...
You were just asking ounces. You weren't talking about amount of alcohol.
No. Oh, no, I'm no. So this is more so 66. 66
Do I need to call Francis
64.
to bust out a spreadsheet?
That's funny, but
Where's
no.
Francis when we need her?
I did that wrong. 66 plus 64 equals 130. That's the answer I had. Divided by 3 is We more so had 43.3. So that's more of a standard because like we typically will have, let's say, 1
So like
to 1
3.5 beers a person.
So we'll typically have 1 to 1.5 beers here, and then we each have. So we typically have 2 to 2.5 beers. So we basically drank an extra beer per person.
That's not bad.
No, it's not. It's the time frame in which we drank it, which gives us a little bit more of that buzz.
All right. So now we've learned that Missy can do math.
Missy is good at math. I'm good with the beer
That's
math.
another reason why her and I get along, because I
But-
suck at math.
She's like, I got this, and this is the answer. I'm like, that sounds retarded. I know that's a not good phrase to say, but at this point, that's basically I'd say, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I am now dumber for having heard that. And then I have to go through my math thing, and I'm like, this is what it is. She's like, oh yeah. And then she feels smarter for having heard that.
Yes.
And on that wonderful note, shall we do our thing?
StrobingButtPlug.com. Like, subscribe,
subscribe.
and share.
Yeah, do all those things.
All the things.
All the things.
Another
Oh,
side
wow.
note, I was thinking this when I was in the bathroom, but you know, like, I feel like I've talked to several people who's like, we gotta record ourselves when we're getting fucking stoned, man, and we like have these conversations, and this is the thing. We're doing that, but it's only with alcohol. Here we are. And at some point, I will do the whole like I'm going to try to broaden it, put it out there, do shit with it, and I'm like, even if we stop doing it, I'm like, that gives me a moment to put all this shit out here and try to like push it, and then people be like, we want to see new episodes, guys, and I'll be like, all right, you heard them. This is how it is. We're doing new episodes. Like we just took a hiatus for a minute, but now we're back on, stronger than ever. Kitty, you have eye gunk, and it is killing me.
Disgusting, buddy.
Disgusting little
What
bitch.
are you saying?
He's all like closing his eyes, has his ears back, prepared for like being pissed off, but you know you're happy and appreciative of me getting that eye goobers out.
So gross, man.
Kitty.
Kitty.
I'm gonna get that put together so I don't forget.
Ah,
What's happening? What just happened?
Oopsies. No. Oops, sorry.
I won't do it.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. I'll need it.
I mean, what else?